Big round of applause, please.
How descriptive it is and how beautiful it is, and I'm sure Mudarsa would like to add as well. That's immediately what struck me. Mudarsa, do you have any thoughts of what you felt from the book when you first saw?
What immediately, hello, voice. What immediately struck me was Bhavani Iyer. Actually, she struck me. होता ये मैं हिंदी में बोल रहा हूँ होता ये है, रवायत यही है कि आपको एक किताब पसंद आई और फिर आपने किताब पढ़ी और किताब पढ़ने के बाद फिर आपको उसका लेखन पसंद आ गया। लड़का हो या लड़की हो, क्योंकि वो बदल जाता है, मुझे पसंद आ गई और मुझे पसंद आ गया, इसलिए लेखक अच्छे लगने लगते हैं, फिर उसकी दूसरी किताबें देखते हैं। अच्छा मेरे साथ भी ऐसे ही हुआ, लेकिन मुझे थोड़ा सा होता है वो ये कि मुझे पहले लेखक पसंद आ गया, उसके बाद मैं ये मेरी बेटी है मेघना, उसके साथ काम कर रही थी, तो उसमें मैं देखता था जिस तरह से ये लोग काम करते हैं। कभी कभार कोई सीन ऐसा देखने में आ जाता था, वरना ये स्क्रिप्ट दिखाती नहीं तो एक ही जगह दोनों भुन्नी है, देखना भी और भुन्नी भी। तो ये सीन में कहीं पूछना पड़ेगा, अच्छा पंजाबी में इसे कैरेक्टर पंजाब के थे तो पंजाबी उर्दू बोलते तो ऐसे बोलते हैं कि ये कैसे। हालांकि मंटो का बड़ा मशहूर जुमला है कि पंजाबी जब उर्दू बोलता तो लगता कि उठ जाए। very famous in the तो वो कहीं वैसे वो पूछे तो कहीं कोई सीन नजर पड़ गया और फिर उसके बाद देखा चर्चे के बाद वो सीन दोबारा नजर पड़ा, उसी पे काम चल रहा है, बदल गया। तो एक जो खूबसूरत बात लगी उसमें कि जो हम लगी रहती थी, मुझे मालूम था भवानी का जिक्र बहुत करती थी बेटी। Even if you change the scene, the spontaneity is not lost. जो अक्सर होता है कि आपने एक सीन लिख लिया, एक कहानी लिख ली, एक किरदार लिख लिया, एक कैरेक्टर आपके सामने आ गया और उस कैरेक्टर को डिस्क्राइब करने तो उसको कहीं दूसरी जगह या उसी बात को बदल के कहने की बात हुई अगर तो the way they used to edit their scenes and the way they used to change over, the spontaneity is never lost, and that's a brilliant thing about any writer, I thought. Which is not part of this book, so I've read some part of it. I've not वो इसमें भी नजर आने लग गया। That's where my liking for the author started first, और author के बाद से फिर जब इन्होंने एक दफा ये किताब दी तो पहली किताब नेचुरली स्टार्टेड और थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम क्योंकि और हाथ में बहुत सारे काम रह जाते हैं तो करने लगे। लेकिन एक ढंग, एक राइटर का एक एटीट्यूड, एक अंदाज वो समझ में आने लगता है। आई होप रेडिमेंटेड more about the writer than the writing will come to later. लेकिन जो बात मुझे बहुत अच्छी और बहुत इम्प्रेस कर रही थी, how the way their attitude towards writing into character and language. हालांकि स्क्रिप्ट की सिटिंग्स जिसे आप कहते हैं फिल्मों में, ये सिटिंग है, स्क्रिप्ट की सिटिंग है, सीन जो कहता है वो सिटिंग सी कहते हैं। तब शाह साहब ने के साथ बहुत काम किया तो वो सिटिंग्स में ये कभी नहीं देखा था कि इतनी सरगोशी में इतनी खामोशी से लोग काम करता है। मतलब हमने सिटिंग देखी थी जिसमें चिल्ला चिल्ली भी होती थी, लड़ाई भी हो जाती थी, गुस्सा भी हो जाता था, कभी कप उठा कर फेंक देते थे, ग्लास तो टूटते ही थे अगर देर से हो, सिटिंग को अगर शाम को हो तो हमेशा की सिटिंग थी। मैंने रमेश शिप्पी की फिल्म अंदाज में लिख रहा था, तो उसमें सलीम जावेद और सचिन भौमिक वो झगड़े देखे, वो बड़ा खूबसूरत, बहुत रिमेम्बरिंग, मतलब याद भी करते हैं, उसके बाद वो याद करते हैं, वो करते हैं। शाद साहब के साथ लिखते हुए सीन में साथिया लिखते हुए, और अभी के साथ दूसरी फिल्म लिखी तभी, तो वो आवाज़ें ऊंची नीची होती रहती हैं। ये दोनों डायरेक्टर एंड राइटर, तो ये सरगोशियों में लिखते थे, विस्पर्स में लिखते थे, ऐसे लगता था कोई साजिश कर रहे हैं, लगता था पता नहीं आप चुपचाप, और कभी आवाज़ ऊंची, एक तो वैसे ही भवानी की आवाज़ नीचे ऊंची कभी नहीं सुनी आवाज़, अब ये सरगोशियों में लिखते हुए बस मैंने इस तरह से देखा। और जब मेरी किताब के 2 चैप्टर्स, 2 से ज़्यादा हैं, until the 8th birthday of the child, वहाँ तक पढ़ा है मैंने। That is, she is loud and clear in the book. She is that clear. तो गोशी उसमें whisper नहीं है, but she knows what she is saying. That's what I can compliment her for this writing, for that kind of writing. This is what Bhavani is doing. That's what I like.
The sittings जो आपने किए, the few times that you have met with Gulzar Saab and revealed your script student.
So I remember very vividly, there was one thing that Gulzar Saab said to me after the first time he read the script of Razi, at that time we were calling it Selma, and he said, after reading the character of Iqbal, he said, "Beta, only a woman can imagine a male with this degree of sensitivity." So, it has been also.
In my reading, whether a book or a script or anything, my reading, I can't do without a pencil in hand. Something in my hand, otherwise पढ़ाई रुक जाती है, जब तक कुछ उठा नहीं, अगर कुछ ना नजर आया तो हाथ से चम्मच उठा लिया। आदत है के साथ में पेंसिल रख के।
Sir had written a note to us. We had given him the first half, just for his reaction. And he said, "So when are you going to give me the second half? And why are you torturing me like this?"
ऐसी जगह बिना के रोका है तो सांस रुकी हुई, अब सांस लेके तो दूसरा इतना तो it was a wonderful work she had done. Wonderful work she had done.
The book is about 2 boys who are sort of united by a common love for writing. Did you seek inspiration from people that you knew? I don't think you went much. You will now discover the book. What were the inspiration for these characters? Which character came first between Devan and Vish? Tell us a little bit how you went about creating this. Also, tell us about writing the book. You wrote it during a period when you were taking a break from writing films. Ghar ban raha tha, product, you had an off time. Tell us a little about the process.
I wrote the book during a period when we had bought a house, my partner and I, and I decided I don't want to take up film work because I want to be involved in the doing up of my house. But then I realized I just was needed in the house with the carpenters for half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening. I had the rest of the day to myself. So Binoy told me, write a book. So I thought, okay, I can do that. As for the subject, I have always had a great deal of questioning about the authorship of what we write. So, does it belong to us? Are we the, yes, we are putting pen to paper, but many a time the words take over. It's not me anymore writing it, it becomes I am just the medium for the genesis of the book. So I thought this is a very interesting question that I can explore with this, about who is the author? Is the author the one who's putting pen to paper, or is he a medium for the genesis of this book? And there are a lot of people that...
Very well said.
Thank you, sir. And there is so much fight over intellectual property and all of that. And I wonder whether we are really owners, because when I see Michelangelo's David, it belongs to me because I love what it does to me. It evokes an emotion in me. It doesn't belong to Michelangelo anymore. It belongs to all of us. So a book, Shakespeare, belongs to all of us. It is not just his. Marlowe belongs to all of us. So I thought that it would be interesting to explore this through two characters. One who is gifted and one who works hard towards getting what he wants. So that was how the book came.
I thought this is something that both Gulzar Sahab and you can weigh in on. Again, to go back to what I felt, I felt it's it's evocative writing, it's beautiful writing. You can see the world unfold, the Calcutta of the 60s and 70s. On the one hand, this one boy growing up in a fishing colony in the Sundarbans, the other more urban, he's gone to rich zamindar. Very beautiful, evocative writing, and I want to talk about world building. In filmmaking, you've been on both sides, as a writer also and as a filmmaker also. In a film, you have several people who contribute to creating that world. The writer, the director, the camera person, the production designer. As a writer, as a fiction writer, you are creating that world yourself. Can you talk about how much more freeing or how much more challenging that aspect is, the world building part of the job, which within a film you have more people to sort of help you with that, right?
Let's not get into cinema once again, because there's enough of it that we keep on talking about and discussing it. Let's come back to the word. The word contribution which goes into the cinema, we create because that's where your concept starts with it. When you pick up a space where you have to build up a construction, structure, it is finding that space where you are going to build up a structure. Which side does the space face? Which side to put the door from where the sunlight will come in the morning? From which side the wind blows? It's that premise laying down is like that of an architect as well. I think that's the very important word very important word when you start putting a story into words. Once you have told the story, you know that so and so was born, so and so was born in such and such a circumstances. For example, in this also, the one born in the urban area. Unless you know the entire culture of that Zamidarana Gharana in which this character is born, those small little gestures have stories behind it which have been coming down with the dynasty. So it is that space which I was saying, when you are creating, it's not one, which will be multiplied while making a film. Okay, but I would still stick to the word, and especially this evening when we are talking about a book. Cinema bahut ho gaya, bahut zyada cinema is taking away too much of footage from our life. Actually, too many are taking away. But let's talk about the author. Let's talk about the writing. Let's talk about the novel, which Bhavani has done. Because in films, well, she has been doing so much of work earlier, and I think this is one individual evening for her as a novelist, as a writer. And though it is related to cinema, a director like Shad would agree with me, is again reinterpreting the whole thing. It's rewriting the whole thing in images. From word to the image it will go. But this basic structure, which I feel is the most important thing when you think of writing. So I don't know how to write a novel, I'll have to learn from her. But I do write short stories, and I do write. Because for a novel one needs her kind of patience, which I don't have. That's why I just write a poem and get away.
I'll answer to your question. In cinema, I think a writer can get lazy because there are so many brilliant minds along with you who are going to help you interpret it. So, suppose Anon were to be made into a book, suppose Anon were written as a screenplay, I would probably not describe Shantiniketan the way I did. I would probably not write about Godhuli, which is the magical hour of the evening, which is such a beautiful visual, which is about the cows going home, and the cows are running, and the golden sand of Shantiniketan is being thrown up, and the evening light lights up that to make it look like the evening is washing the sand. In a movie, it is so beautiful, it's very easy to show, it's just one visual, and the writer is so redundant in that moment. But for a novel, I think everything rests on you. You need to take your reader right through, and you can't rely on music, you can't rely on anything, you just have to rely on the words that you create to be able to frame the world that you're taking your reader into. So it is extremely challenging, but it's also extremely fulfilling, because what you will read is exactly what I have written. Whereas in film, sometimes what I write, like Gulzar Sahab said, the door may not be on the right, the director may see the door on the left, and the light is not coming from the north, it's coming from the south. So that is the difference, I think, between writing for film and writing for books. And I personally find writing a novel very challenging, yes, but very fulfilling also.
I remember us talking a few days ago, and I remember you saying that there is a purity to writing a novel, to being that individual exercise, which is sometimes sort of lost or compromised when you're writing a movie which involves so many other people. Both of you, how can you weigh in on that? I mean, because how does one protect the purity then? When you're, how do you hang on to the purity of writing a film when you know that what you have written may be interpreted and manipulated and sort of turned around and made malleable and flexible to suit what the filmmaker wants to execute? How does one hold on to that purity then of the written word and what you want to convey?
One of the reasons when I left making films was the interference of the others. Because every time it becomes a raw material. The first raw material is the writing part of it. And it goes into the hands of a screenplay writer. Say a novel goes into the handwriter of the screenplay if the same writer is not writing a screenplay. Then the book is a raw material in the hands of the screenplay writer. Now the screenplay writer starts working out its scenes. That whole screenplay, when a director takes it up, it becomes a raw material for him. It's another raw material. A director has a concept that wants to say something, and through those images he picks up his other team of technicians to interpret that one concept which was there. And he keeps on with the help of a cameraman, with the help of an actor, with the help of a music director, with the help of a choreographer, with the help of music behind it, creates that one thing which becomes a raw material again. That total raw material collected goes in the hands of an editor. And the editor starts chop off. This is more. It's not bringing in the impact. To bring the impact which you had thought and which behind you the screenplay writer had thought and which the original writer had thought has gone 4 generations, 5 generations ahead. And because then there is an angle, there is a lower angle, there is upper angle, there is a frame, and finally what has gone to the writer, to the audience, is not one pure concept from one person. So come back to the poem, come back to the book, because that is the purest bit, which is your experience and nobody else. So your experience has not had an interpretation. So I come back, that's why I said, talk to the book, come back to the book, come back to my poems. So that's why I came. The sunset of my poem, I think, is the purest.